A broom. Why? Allow me to make some sweeping generalizations. That was so corny, but it's true. I'm just gonna... Sweeping generalizations while I also sweep this. The sweeping generalization that I want to make is this. Your family is normal. Obviously, I don't know you. I don't know your family unless I know you in real life, in which case that's irrelevant. I told you I was making a sweeping generalization, which sweepingly generalizes everybody, including you. Get used to it. Sorry, that sounds like a threat. Like, this sweeping generalization will apply to you, okay? And you don't have to like it, but don't make me get the broom, okay? Anyways, your family's normal. When you picture a normal family, you might have pictured my family, the family that I grew up in, until you walked in the door and met us, and then you would have been like, yikes, what is going on here, okay?
What is going on? And where's Andy? And what is going on?
I grew up in South Minneapolis. I had a mom. I had a dad. I had 3 siblings. We had a rotating door of pets. My mother let me have so many pets. R.I.P. those hermit crabs. That was a strange phase. If we had a class pet, then I would become obsessed with that kind of pet and insist on having it. Anoles, loved those guys. One of them was named Bertha. I don't know why. The hermit crabs were definitely, that was a weird phase. Hermit crabs, I was like, why doesn't he want to cuddle with me? He's a hermit crab. It's right in the name, babe. He's not here to make friends. He's here to live in his shell. It's not personal. He wouldn't come out for anybody. It's okay. God, I loved those hermit crabs.
He's so cute.
Anyways, it was me, my parents, my siblings, some pets. I went to a Catholic school, and most of the families pretty much looked like mine. People had a mom, a dad, siblings, religious trauma. I assumed I'd grow up and have the same kind of family. I'd grow up, I would go to college, I'd graduate, I'd marry a man, and we would have 4 kids, which is the exact number of kids that were in my family. And I guess from the outside, it looks like I did it. I am married to a man. We do have 4 kids. He is my second husband. I'm his second wife. We met when I was a widowed mother of a toddler, and he was a divorced dad with a teen and a tween. And then we fell in love and had a baby and got married. And from the outside, my family actually does look a lot like the family that I grew up in, including like the age gap between the big kids and the little kids, who really aren't even that little anymore, but they're always going to be the bigs and the littles to me. My family looks kind of like I thought it would, and also nothing like I thought it would. I didn't think when I was a kid that I would get married twice. I wasn't a little girl who was playing house with my friends and saying, so I'm the stepmom. We're not the only blended family. We are not snowflakes, but the way our family came together does require some explanation when we meet new people. And even that word, explanation, I don't know, it feels like something. The family I have now would not be normal to the little girl that I was, but it is, of course, like you are probably saying to yourself, our family is completely normal, just like yours. And puts on glasses. Wow, did she just get more intelligent?
Hey, okay. You've been a delight.
No, but she can see. The weirdest thing about getting glasses, like you have to wear them and then they work and then you can see.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! Oh!
That was you? You was the banana? Oh.
There's a Pew Research study from 2015 that basically says that there is no more dominant family structure in the US. The dominant family structure, the normal that I grew up with, in quotation marks, is not the standard anymore. That is not the norm. And you probably already know that. You probably already have a family that falls outside of what we believed normal to be for so long. And there are people who will say, oh, that's so sad. Oh, it's the decay of the American family, but really it's the redefinition of family. And it's a redefinition or maybe a recalibration that's more fitting for my family, more fitting for your family. Enough of those. I don't wear them because I don't like them. In 1960, the height of the baby boom, 73% of kids lived with their married parents. In 1980, that number was less than 61%. And by 2015, that number was less than half. There are people who will say, oh no, that is so sad. It's the decay of the American family. What will people do? What about the children? Won't somebody think of the children? Maud Flanders.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
But the thing about that definition of a normal family, a standard family, is that you have to think what's normal. Because just because 73% of kids lived with married parents does not mean that 73% of kids lived with happily married parents in healthy relationships. In 1960, when 73% of children lived with their married parents, their mothers couldn't get a credit card or a loan without a man, without their dad or their husband. Those numbers don't have to be sad. Those numbers can represent a redefinition, a recalibration that fits families like yours and like mine. Families that are made and remade in all kinds of ways. Because marriage is optional, kids are optional, remarriage is optional, and family has always been defined differently by the people in it. It's actually really profound to me that I got the family that I imagined in a way that I never imagined was possible, a way that I would never choose from a menu, a way that you would never choose from a menu. But I said your family was normal, not my family is normal. And what that Pew Research statistic tells me is that normal is subjective, of course, but that if there is no standard, if there is no real normal, then everyone's normal. Then your family is normal. Whether or not it looks like you thought it would, whether or not it's the family that you wanted, whether or not it's the family that you deserved. By the way, if that's a logical fallacy, please let me live in it. There are certain things that just need to be emotionally true for me. But I think it stands, right? Like, if there is no normal, then nobody is normal, but then everybody is normal. It makes sense to me. The idea of normal comes with expectations that you might not live up to, expectations that might be out of your control. My friend Julia Winston was a 37-year-old absolute boss, great career, great hair. I always tell my kids it's what's on the outside that counts. She'd just gotten out of a long-term relationship. She had just bought a house. She imagined that she would grow up, get married, and have kids. She'd frozen some of her eggs earlier in her 30s just in case. Her relationship ends and she's thinking, am I ever going to be a mom? Am I ever going to get married? And two of her male friends asked her a question. They asked her to be their egg donor, to help them build their family. Now, at the time, Julia was in kind of a weird place. She had a career she loved. She had a house. She'd just gotten out of a relationship. She wasn't sure if motherhood was in the cards for her. Did she want kids? Did she want marriage? But she said yes to her friends. She said yes to donating her eggs. She said yes to helping them grow their family. And she says it was the easiest yes that she could make. Julia's friends wanted her to be a known egg donor, for her not to be a legal mother or a legal guardian to these children, but to be a loving presence in their life. There's not a word for that in our culture. So they settled on fairy godmother, and that's what she is. She's a fairy godmother. And Julia said of this experience that it made her realize that family is less of a noun and more of a verb, because family is always changing, but most importantly, it's always changing you. And she realized that she needed a new word for this, a new word for what she was doing, what she was going through. And she called it refamulating. Refamulating is a verb. It's the process of defining and redefining what makes your family. It might sound like a new word, it might sound like a new concept, but refamulating has been everywhere and is everywhere all the time. A baby is born, a family grows. Someone dies, a family shrinks. Divorce, remarriage, it's all refamulating. I did a very informal poll on my Instagram and asked people how their families are different than they imagined they would be. And I got so many responses, hundreds of stories from people whose families look all kinds of ways, people who have cobbled their families together from all kinds of broken pieces. Some of them have families that exceed their wildest expectations, and some of them are still learning to live with the pain of what they thought would be and what will never be. But whatever your family looks like, wherever you are right now, your family is normal, and it's going to be okay.